Dear readers, we often speak of ascension, but our messages are primarily meant to awaken you to the reality of who you are. We seek to help you understand that rather than being simply human physical bodies that must forever struggle for necessities, the reality is that you already embody everything you have ever sought in every lifetime. You are divine beings, God in expression, experiencing three-dimensional energy. In the beginning, all were pure spirit, expressions of Source, divine consciousness, God. Over time and as the result of many circumstances and manipulations, the energy became heavy and dense and bodies became physical. Then these dear ones began to lose their way, forgetting who they were and no longer in alignment with higher spiritual energy. This was the beginning of their journey back home. In these present times of intense energetic frequencies, many are suffering from the low resonating actions of unawakened humans, as well as from natural disasters. Know that God does not or could not punish anyone. Could divine consciousness punish itself? The concept of a God punishing individuals for sin is a myth that was created, and has been expanded in religions over time for the purpose of control, keeping members needing them, and in line with whatever man-made rules and regulations the particular group espouses. The majority of today's religious leaders do not purposely intend to mislead people, although many become lost in the ego gratifications of power. They themselves are hypnotized by concepts of good and evil, and most believe that they are doing God's work when they preach false concepts about a God of hell and damnation. Every individual creates their own hell, both on earth and on the other side from the contents of their consciousness. Consciousness is the substance of form, but the majority as of yet do not understand this, and so continue creating from levels of consciousness that embrace duality and separation. The results are not punishments, but simply the creations of the one creating. This is not to say that the perpetrators of actions intended to hurt others should not be disciplined or even incarcerated, as this is still necessary on earth. However, correction needs to be carried out from unconditional love that is geared to the level of understanding, state of consciousness, of the individual being corrected, rather than from concepts of revenge that remain the focus of many prison systems and individuals. Discipline techniques based in revenge will not work in the higher dimensional energy. Examine your personal belief system for hidden concepts of revenge that may still linger in your belief system from this or other lifetimes. These concepts often remain alive and well, but often stay deeply submerged until some personal or global issue brings them to the surface. The majority of those suffering catastrophic events are not being punished, but rather are living and creating from a consciousness of duality and separation. This is not always the case, however, as many evolved souls choose to be a part of some natural disaster in order to serve. Others choose to clear old energy through these types of experiences, while some simply have this on their bucket list. Everyone in these types of situations is learning and incorporating new facets of unconditional love. Mother Earth, Gaia, is not an impersonal piece of dirt to be used and abused by those who stand to benefit financially from her, but is a living soul who has chosen to ascend out of the dense third-dimensional practices that have almost decimated her body. She is clearing energy that has accumulated for eons, and this often takes the form of a natural disaster. However, those who do not wish mankind to spiritually evolve have had a hand in some of these events. It is a time of renewal and the remaking of all things. The energies that created and still support three-dimensional concepts of healthcare, government, education, and spirituality, in their present form are dissolving. Rather than seeing change as negative, always remember that nothing real, every facet of divine consciousness, can ever disappear, but rather will change form when manifested from higher levels of consciousness. Never forget that consciousness is the substance of all form. What you see materially is the mind interpretation of an ever-present divine idea, interpreted according to the state of consciousness of the individual or collective. An ordinary car is actually a three-dimensional concept of omnipresence. As mankind evolved, so did the cart, horse, and Model T become airplanes, trains, and technologically evolved cars. Many, even some who are spiritually aware, still question and ask themselves, why did I do this? Why did I choose this person to be my partner? Why did I not do this, instead of that? Why did I make such a foolish decision? These questions are natural for humans, because the world in general is ignorant of why people are on Earth, and thus continues promoting certain do's and don'ts, rights and wrongs, as being necessary for happiness. When a person becomes serious about their spirituality, experiences are no longer random as they are when people are living fully in a third-dimensional belief system. Experiences at a certain evolutionary point begin to express one's spiritual contract, life events the individual is ready for and has chosen to experience while on Earth. Everyone has a spiritual contract, a contract that he or she has put together with the help of guides and teachers, consisting of their choice to interact with certain people, and to have specific experiences deemed necessary for further spiritual growth or the completion of something. Contracts can be rewritten, avoided, or discarded through free will, but most are intuitively guided toward fulfilling the contents of the spiritual contract they incarnated with. Once you understand this, life decisions that you have questioned and felt guilt about no longer seem to be mistakes, but rather steps along the way. Even those living in the worst of human circumstances are spiritually evolving. Every lifetime is a facet of the evolutionary journey, even when to human eyes it looks to be failure. Every person is a divine being who has chosen experiences of separation to be the teacher that will lead them into spiritual realization. How long this takes is not important as it is a free will choice and spiritual readiness is determined by the higher self. The density of three-dimensional energy serves as a block that keeps most people from remembering why they are on Earth. This energetic barrier also prevents the majority from interacting with those of higher dimensional energy, no alignment, resulting in the world of duality and separation that you all know. There are some who evolve in other ways on other planets without the intensity of three-dimensional experiences. But when a person spiritually graduates from lifetimes done in difficult Earth school, he or she becomes a very powerful spiritually awakened being who can no longer be fooled by the illusions of sense, and is well prepared to assist others seeking evolution. There is no right or wrong, good pictures are just as illusory as bad ones. Evolution is about graduating beyond illusory concepts of good and bad and into the reality of one. And that one governed by unconditional love and manifesting itself as wholeness, peace, harmony, abundance, health, and happiness, etc. The utopian world that people seek can never be attained through three-dimensional means, because a consciousness of duality and separation can only express in forms of good and evil. Peace contracts based in this energy represent a first step, but will never result in permanent peace. Because good that is created from duality and separation must eventually flip, allowing its opposite to express. It is time to cease trying to save, heal, or correct the illusions of a three-dimensional world, and begin living, moving, and having your being in truth until that becomes your attained state of consciousness. This is the only way the world will be changed, not through prayers for peace. When you pray to an outside God for something, anything, you are perpetuating and creating from a consciousness of separation, I don't have. Rather let your prayer be a resting in the silent awareness of, I and the Father are one. And then extending that realization to Gaia and every living thing upon her, regardless of outer appearances. As long as society continues to promote wars on drugs, wars on cancer, or wars on anything, these very things remain empowered and energetically fed, which allows them to grow and continue manifesting. As difficult as it may be, Every person at some point must choose to let go of and move beyond all comfortable but erroneous beliefs that have heretofore governed their life. When enough people do this, the world and every living thing on it, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the divic, elemental, nature spirit kingdoms, and every human being will begin to experience themselves as they truly are, and will discover that every good they sought throughout lifetimes has always been fully present. We are the Arcturian group,